Alright, so I thought I'd do a quick little video on the 2010 Japanese Grand Prix, and as you can tell, I'm not in my car. It's lovely. I'm actually home for once. And basically, they knew going into the week that there was going to be heavy rain on for at least part of the weekend. And for those people who don't know, Formula One racing, you have um, really 5 sessions. You have first and second practice are on Friday. Um, there's one race. Is it maybe Monaco where they have first second practice on Thursday and then an off day? I don't know. Usually first second practice on Friday, um, third practice Saturday morning, and practice there that because they don't have testing anymore. They've banned testing in Formula One. Free practice is a lot of where you'll see new stuff being tried. If they have a new aero bit or a new whatever, a lot of times it sees track time for the first time during practice. And so they use practice, and then as practices progress, as you get to second and third practice, they're dialing in the cars. They are um, really starting to get some racing runs in. Um, put some fuel, a lot of fuel in the car, a heavy fuel load. Go out, run 6, 7 laps, whatever. Um, so third practice Saturday morning, and then qualifying is typically Saturday afternoon slash evening. And then the race is on Sunday. Um, in Suzuka, because of the rain, they actually had to postpone qualifying. They had scheduled qualifying to happen, and the rain was just torrential. A few people went out during third practice, and even that was a little bit um, crazy. It was torrential rain, rivers of water on the circuit. Um, Timo Glock had a pretty crazy. It wasn't a dangerous spin. Um, he just spun, and it was just there was no traction. And what I watched a little bit of I downloaded and watched a little bit of qualifying, and even worse, I don't think anybody went out during qualifying. Qualifying. Um, and basically, what happened was the conditions never improved uh, to a point where Charlie Whiting, the Formula One race director, thought it was safe to have qualifying. So basically, from what I've seen of the coverage, the BBC at least spent a lot of the time talking with team principals and chief engineers and drivers. Um, but it was great reading their little live feed. Teams were apparently um, the water was flowing down because Suzuka starts. Um, it's on an incline or a decline, however you want to think about it. They start heading downhill. Um, so apparently they were making paper boats and literally having them sail down the river of water in the pit lane. Um, the garages, I almost said garage. I watch way too much British TV. Um, they're not flooded with water, but the water was flowing down pit lane, and apparently they were sailing little paper boats. And one of the Five Live commentators um, was joking and said that if the rain went on long enough, they'd have ships worthy of the Ryder Cup. It was pretty funny. So now what they've done is postponed qualifying to tomorrow morning, Sunday morning in Japan. I love Japan. Japan is probably one of my favorite races. A, because the track is crazy. Suzuka is a pretty crazy track. Um, but it's so far ahead that qualifying will be done before I go to sleep tonight for sure. And I think the race will be over before I wake up tomorrow. So I'll be able to download the race, watch it right away. I don't have to wait. Most Sundays, it's like 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, and I'm twiddling my fingers waiting for the race to come up for me to download and watch. But Japan's so far ahead, I don't have to wait. It's done. Um, and I avoid Twitter and the BBC website the race day because I like to be surprised. I used to not care. I used to just say, I'm just gonna watch it to watch it. And the truth is that when you don't know who has won, it's that much more exciting. Um, so that's it. Qualifying postponed until tomorrow. What I meant to say, it's supposed to rain in the morning or still be damp in the morning for qualifying, but they're expecting a dry race. So hopefully their setups really shouldn't be that different. They should be able to just run their with qualifying having been postponed, they will have kept a dry setup or gone back to a dry setup, which is really the wet setup, but with less ride height. So they really should just be able to go. And if anything, if the practice pace was anything to go by, Red Bull should dominate here, which was expected. We're getting to that point where engines start to come into play. I know one of the Red Bulls took a fresh engine and one of them didn't. You're only allowed 8 engines for the season. Um, and we've gotten to the point where a lot of people have used their 8th engines. I know, I think Ferrari's maxed out. I think Renault still have 2, maybe 3 engines. They may have taken new engines this weekend. So being able to stretch your engine allocation to the end becomes important because if you've got a fresh engine to take, that engine doesn't have mileage on it. You can feel free to crank the power up towards the end of races or when you need to. And so reliability may come into play. I know in years past it has towards the end, being able to make your car get to the end of the season on the number of engines you're allowed. If you take a new engine, it's a 10-place grid penalty, and my understanding is the engine can only be used for that weekend. So if I'm Fernando Alonso and I've already taken my 8 engines, and I take a 9th engine for Suzuka, I don't think he's allowed to use that engine at the next race. So it's not like you're adding an engine to your allocation. It's like you get an engine for that weekend, and you have to take that penalty, but then you're still screwed for the next race if you've already used your 8. And they reuse engines. It's not like engine 1 comes out and it's done, but they have a number of miles that each engine covers, and then once it hits that magical mark, it's not going to be as reliable, power may be down, what have you. So, anyways, should be interesting to see tomorrow. Suzuka is a crazy track. Crazy. Search for YouTube and get clips of like 130R or Degna 2. It's a pretty crazy track. I'm looking forward to it. There should be, I'm hoping somebody crashes. No, I'm just kidding. I hope nobody crashes. But at Suzuka, somebody always crashes. So, anyways, that's it for now. I'll talk to you guys later.